When I play basketball, I feel like there's nothing that can stop me.
Come on, ladies, clean it up.
In a few minutes, we're gonna play Providence. Ashley being a senior, I really hope we can show that maturity.
God. My mom raised me in Cambodia, and I raised Ashley here, so everything is different.
She's not patient enough. Sometimes it's too rushed.
If Ashley ends up taking 99% of the shots, we're gonna be in trouble.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for Home Court, streaming on all PBS platforms right now. Go check it out. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. Joining me to talk all things Home Court are director Erica Tanamachi, as well as producer Jenn Lee Smith. Thank you both for your time. I had such a pleasure watching this film. I felt so seen, so relatable as a second generation immigrant Asian American. I knew the mother, I knew and how she reacts to kind of like what I did, because I compared it to my mom, that other kind of parents you developed outside of the home, in like a coach, if you will. This was just such I've again felt seen. This is such a beautiful documentary. I absolutely loved it. I hope people will go check it out after they watch this interview, or if they want to pause and go watch that right now, feel free. But we're gonna get into it. I want to know why Erica and Jenn came together to put this together. So Erica, Jenn, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for giving me some of that time. So I read in the show notes, in the production press kit, of how this kind of came together. But for those that didn't get the same information, can we talk about this? Because I would like to know, as a fellow filmmaker, you know, we're doing so many things out here. And when something like this comes along, why we choose to do something like this and why it's so important to get stories out here like this. So if I can go with you, Erica, on how this project started with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jenn and I met at the Mill Valley Film Festival. Actually, you know, if you can see us, people mistook her for me as Erica Tanamachi. And she turned to me and said, "I'm Jenn Lee Smith." And so we started our relationship. We wanted to do a project together. And her daughter actually started playing in the Ninjas, which is a Japanese American basketball league up here. And then she started doing research, and she's like, "Wow, this is really interesting." She turned to me to talk about it. And I was like, "Yeah, actually, my husband and all of his cousins grew up playing in the leagues. My father-in-law was on the Nisei Athletic Union, which was the first league created after incarceration, as he was born in the camps." So we basically went through there. One thing led to another, researching, talking to people and cousins, and a cousin connected us to Jayme, and Jayme told us about Ashley. And that was it. Basically, so we basically started out the story with this interest of talking about the leagues, but we wanted to nest this history within a contemporary story so that kids, honestly, contemporary kids, our children, would want to watch the film, would gravitate to it. And then you get the vegetables, you know, while you watch this exciting film. Wow.
I have to tell you, when I started watching it and hearing, you know, the background, the historical elements of this, I love George Takei. I'm a big fan of George. I've had him on. I've interviewed him. He had his book that talked about the camps, but I never realized what were the other stuff they were doing, other than, you know, we just have this difficult story of them being in these camps, but what they did to keep themselves occupied. Oh my God, they're playing things like this and playing basketball, and they formed these leagues. I was like, wow, it was just mind blowing to me. I was like, oh my gosh, so beautiful, so wild, and so cool. So yeah, it was just interesting to kind of put those segments together and be like, wow. So Jenn, you get with Erica. How do we find Ashley Chia in this mix to be the vehicle to tell this?
Right. So through Jayme Erica's cousin, we met Jayme Kiyomura Chan, she just has a gift, you know, a good gut feeling about talent. And so she's like, "Oh yeah, I've got a couple of talented players right now. Caitlin Chen, you know, shout out to UConn and the, you know, national champions, and Ashley Chia, and they're like together, and we're like, oh, how interesting. Let's talk to them. So that was one of our first interviews, was talking to Caitlin and Ashley. And just kind of getting a feel, you know, with documentary filmmaking, you're kind of like crossing the river by feeling for stones. You're just like, okay, well then what's the next step? And what's the next step, right? And you want to be as you just want to be intuitive and kind of taking in all of the information as you go along. Like, what is the most compelling story given our values? And we value impact. Both of Eric and I come out of impact stories, and but we also want to make something that was fun for our children. Eric has 2 kids, I have 3 kids, and they're all kind of adolescents, and like so we had that intentionality to find something of that age group. And then when we met Ashley, she was just the perfect kind of participant, and with a great family background. And we thought maybe tying in that kind of that historical thread of the Khmer Rouge, which is very recent history, with kind of the Japanese American experience, which is a little, has happened a little bit longer ago in the 40s, would be a good way to kind of show the non-monolithic Asian American experience, right? So that we get some newer immigrants, intersecting with the Japanese Americans who came here longer before, but all in the service really of dispelling myths, right? About Asians. Can we see more Asians historically playing sports, right? Like, Japanese Americans were known to play a lot of baseball. They played a lot of basketball, and they formed communities and conversations, community. So conversations about community building really center on, on sports, but we've not seen a whole lot of that, in the media. So that's really kind of the heart of it, was like, who can be this kind of the center point? That's Ashley, being a new generation immigrant. And it's gonna be a coming of age story, and seeing the world through her lens, but also having kind of a narrator, like through her coach, a mentor, a narrator who has been through life and is multiracial, with kind of having grown up in the Japanese American leagues, felt like a great story.
Definitely 2 great wins of subjects, I have to tell you. Because I cared so deeply for both of them, and still do. Like, I want to know, is Ashley doing well at Princeton right now, and how is the coach doing right now, and what is the record at the moment of the new team of prep? I just absolutely loved it. I wanted to ask, as a fellow filmmaker, creative, I live here in the DC area, and I know I have a lot of friends that do documentary work as well, and I'm so scared of it because I think it's such a responsibility to make sure, you're telling the story and getting everything right, but also to bring it out of people, as people of color, as Asian Americans, we kind of keep things in. Can you tell me, okay, we found Ashley, we found this coach, now the production of Home Court and working with them, what was that like to get them to speak if you had to? Were they open at first, or were they not? And it took a minute, and then just finding, that glue and that through line throughout everything to where we get to where we're at. If I can go back to you, Erica.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. I mean, we started during COVID too in 2020. So a lot of our original conversation happened via Zoom, and we got her a camera and had her do video diaries, which was really funny in the beginning because Jayme was like,
real world.
Well, Jayme's like, dude, we're Asian. We don't like video diary ourselves. Like, and I actually randomly, my daughter actually used to take these videos. Like, she'd sneak videos on my phone, like for who, I don't know. Like, she was making her own YouTube videos, and I would send them to Ashley. Like, this is maybe like this, where you're just talking, So Ashley started to do that. She did them, and it was great. And actually, you see, like the when she talks about her dad, that's from a video diary of her just filming herself at her house. So that was kind of how we built connection. And then I remember feeling no far away. I also Jen and I both live in Northern California, so we'd have to get on a plane to go visit. And I remember once, like, we didn't really get into like work, like actually filming, especially because she got injured. So a lot of it was remote until junior year. And right then at the start of junior year, I was much more in touch, flying down multiple times a month, staying for a couple of days at a time. And really building trust. And I remember one day, I just remember feeling like we were, filming all the practices or most of the practices, all the games. And I remember feeling like I just need to get close to Ashley. And we spent a day, I just was like, I went in and just, me and a camera, just the two of us. And that's where a lot of those also deep conversations sort of came from. So I guess it was just a period, it's just time, and I think like Jayme is an open book. Like she is just, she'll say everything and she's so articulate and eloquent in how she speaks.
Quotable.
And quotable, like so quotable. And Ashley is so deep and thoughtful. And that it took time also to just, ask the right questions to be able to get the answers that we were kind of looking for of like what we were, going after. And she just, yeah, I mean, she was so brave. Like I kept telling her throughout the entire time, like she started out this film thinking that she was going to have a really cool Instagram reel. And she didn't really know the depths that we were interested. And that took her a minute to come to. And like you said, like it is a huge responsibility that we carry as filmmakers to make sure that we're ethically and appropriately showing and sharing people's stories, especially because I say like, this isn't our story, right? We're telling a story that we witnessed and that we saw, and we put this together. And I own that, and I hold great responsibility for that. And I told Jayme from the start, I said, look, if we're making a film, if I show you a film that you don't like and you don't feel like you're accurately portrayed or Ashley, we won't show it. Like, I don't care about a contract that we sign. And she held on to that. That kept her sleeping throughout the nights. And by the time we came to have like a close to final cut, I showed her the film, and both her and Ashley, and it was hard for Ashley.
Yeah.
And it took her a couple of times to process. She had a few notes, so we definitely incorporated all of her notes. And that was my first question was, do you feel authentically portrayed? And she said, yes. And I don't like how I was early, I was hard, and she couldn't, and now she has she says that she cringes at looking at herself. And I'm like, of course you do. It means you've grown. Yeah. It's a good thing.
Yes. I love that. I thank you for sharing that. And for those that are ever thinking about doing something like this, now and work with the right people. And Erica and Jenn are the right people. Being sensitive to that, to giving life and showing of someone's story. Jenn, if you can add to that as well, your experience, working with Erica, giving life to this story, bringing Ashley's story out there. I cried a lot with this because I know Ashley. I'm Ashley in different ways. I know this mother because I'm raising a daughter right now who I'm getting ready to send off to college. We've been doing college visits as we speak right now. We're taking a break this week as of this recording, but we've got another visit like planned next week. And it's so, I feel this in every way. Can you speak to, working with Ashley along with Erica, making this happen and being sensitive to those needs and them when they've seen it? I have so many questions. I'm sorry. I'm like going all over the place. What did they feel when they saw it, as well? What were some of the feedback you heard, Jenn?
Yeah, I think it was helpful that I am a 1.5 generation Asian immigrant from Taiwan, and that initially, my I met Bao, right, and Lita, and they just felt so familiar to me. They reminded me of my parents. And Bao, has a passion. He and his mother have a passion for growing fruit trees, just like my father, here in Southern California. And so I brought him a big box of like fruit from my dad's yard, and he knew instantly what they're like, just like guava and persimmons, and they're just like things that you don't normally see at Albertsons, and so that felt like a connecting kind of a initial kind of introduction to just like, hey, there's some sort of embodiment. I have an embodied understanding, right? I have these lived experiences that I can draw from as a producer, and not the primary creative necessarily, but at least someone who helps definitely is shaping, right, the arc of the story. And so the what's interesting is that my daughter plays in this, very small world of elite youth girls basketball. And so, we would film something, I show my daughter a cut, she'd be like, "Oh, that's Elle. Oh, that's my coach," right? And so the personal and the professional was frequently overlapped. It still does. Having a daughter who is literally in this world, same as you, looking at colleges and kind of giving feedback. I think it was really nice to have my kids kind of watch different cuts and Erica's too, and um but yeah, and feel into that world. And my daughter plays for the Ninja Leagues. It's San Jose Ninja Leagues in the Bay Area, and so she would compete down in LA where we were filming. So so it was really fun. It was a fun, really, the last 3-4 years has been just a joy. It doesn't feel like work.
Amazing. I'm going to be using this as a tool, and like I use a lot of films. I think we as filmmakers, when we don't have the words to say something or how we're feeling or experiencing something, we can remember this scene or show this scene. I think now with this, I can't wait for my daughter to see this. What would you say to that when people that are going to use this as a tool? And thank you for this again, Erica and Jenn. That now when we don't have the words, we can look at this moment. This is kind of like how I felt like you were, you didn't have the words to talk to me. Did you feel this way?
Right.
To maybe start a conversation. If I can go back to you, Erica.
It's so interesting you say that. I had a neighbor of mine just stop me just now, and I got all teary with her because she just watched it with her daughter, who's 10 or 11. And she literally just said that she did that. She said she stopped it on the part when Ashley was talking about her feelings, how she had her brain, she's so afraid of being still. And she's constantly doing something. And it's when she gets still, she gets, like that she gets sad. And she stopped it and she said, "Hey, this is you. How do you identify?" They had a whole conversation about it. And what do you like? Let's talk about what is going inside. Why do you want to always be out and doing things? And I was like, wow, it was just like a new, different perspective, like exactly what you're just saying. And I've also heard from other people who are watching with their kids, they're pausing it during the Khmer Rouge, they're pausing it, during the JA, the incarceration camps. And it's just such, such a great opportunity for education where you get to see it, you get to understand it. It's like this is what we do, right? This is the best of what we do and what we can do. And I know Jenn and I just feel the deepest gratitude that we were the harbors of this story, that we got to help put this part of this story out into the world, because it is truly, truly an honor. And it is even more of an honor that people take the time to watch, because I know that, there's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of competition and things. And, sometimes we think like, oh, documentary doesn't feel as exciting or it feels hard. But it does always seem to be, worthwhile.
This is a special one. And again, I absolutely love it, adore it. I'm going to be using it as a tool and definitely sharing it with all of my friends. Jenn, we talked a little bit about the soundtrack. You were talking, you had a playlist. One of the things I absolutely adored, shout out to my pal, Ruby Ibarra. You use her for quite a few tracks that play out through Home Court. Can you talk about, vibing, and maybe was that a connection tool to this young cast? Well, to Ashley, to some of these kids, that you're interacting with and sharing the story to bring it to life. Can you talk about that, Jenn?
Oh my gosh, yeah, great question. I love music in the films, right? I feel like the music really does enhance scenes and kind of, hone in on what the message might be, that Ruby Ibarra and Dengue Fever absolutely did this for Home Court. Erica and I were fascinated by, we kind of did there was a lot of research, like archival research, right? But into not just the video footage of JA Leagues, but also of Cambodian music. Like the history of Cambodian rock, in the 50s and 60s is so rich. If you have a chance to go down that rabbit hole, I guarantee you're going to enjoy it. was the Cambodia Rock Band was the musical that Eric and I checked out at Berkeley. And it really inspired not just, the music, but also the key art that you see behind you. It's like kind of those colors, that psychedelic funk pop, like rock music. Had a, I just wish maybe in another universe there wasn't a disastrous, war, genocide. Like God, we can only. And I just imagine, okay, in this world, like that art scene and that music scene continued in Cambodia. Can you imagine like how much richness that would be? So do that, go down that rabbit hole, Cambodian Rock Band and Dengue Fever and all the groups that came out of that time. That Dengue Fever is a modern group, but yeah, Ruby and all these Asian Americans who are creating fantastic music, independently. It's not easy. And it's a real honor to work with them. There's, I don't know what else to say. It's just like, how blessed are we as filmmakers that we can not, we could be tapped into all these different pockets of art.
Yes.
And I would just add Ruby. So we got on a call with Ruby after we wanted to license a couple of her songs. And we asked her about writing an original song for the closing credits. So that final song is an original, which is actually, she's releasing like right now too.
So amazing, so dope. And I just love us so much. AAPI representation. It's so beautiful. Yes.
Well, also I'll add, but circling back to your previous question, to Erica, the demographic of dads with daughters who play sports love this. It doesn't matter regardless of race, right? So they're just like, oh wow, okay, this they get really excited. So we've had those dads just kind of be our biggest fan of the film. So I feel like this is a Universal Studio, it's a Universal story. Sorry, I'm nearby Universal Studios right now. And like we try to make it right as universal as possible. When we started, we're like, Erica's so good at the mother-daughter thematics and family dynamics, and then and just honing in on that kind of that micro level of intergenerational conversations and issues, but then also to kind of let's not forget the dads, right? Bob was he might be a little quiet, but
I appreciate that, by the way. Yeah, us dads,
Yes.
My wife and daughter are so connected, but I'm here. Show me love too.
For real, yeah. Right? Like I don't think I'd be playing sports if my dad didn't, encourage me. So like, it was similar. Like my mom was kind of like, I don't think girls do that. And my dad's like, whatever, just, do what you love. Yeah.
I love that we saw that. Just I love this film. It's so beautiful. Can we get maybe some updates real quick on Ashley, on you guys? I want to definitely know your next project because I definitely want to support what you guys are doing. This is such a beautiful, well-made documentary. Just tender. I love it. But how the family are doing? Again, I was crying throughout, and I'm just, I'm curious what the parents thought when they saw it as well. And you don't get this type of lens into your daughter's feelings and vibes, like really, like, oh my gosh, like I really want to know what happened after, if they shared that with you at all.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they were so supportive and so moved throughout filming. That one interview with Lita that comes up where she's emotional a few times. That was like very much near the end of filming. And she also just shared. It took I think it took a lot to just even get her alone in the house, without like just the amount of strategizing with just their workload and what their lives are like. It was, that was hard. And by the time we got there, there was so much ingrained trust. And it was such an honor to receive her story. And she cried to me saying, no one asks me my story. And so what was so beautiful is we were one of the opening night film at the Cambodia Town Film Festival in Long Beach, which was an amazing festival, and where we won the Best Documentary Award. And Lita and Grandma and Bao came, and they came on stage. And Lita sat and shared for 20 minutes in Khmer, just her feelings. And to an audience of 300 people or more that were receiving it and listening. And she just, she wasn't unfortunate. She was in Cambodia during that premiere in May at the LA Asian Film Festival. And so it was really special to have that experience with her and to see how much she's grown. And Ashley too, Ashley has admittedly grown since watching this. You can't help it in a way that it's kind of this process that Jayme talks about in the film, how it's just this process you have to go through. Yeah. That, Ashley's is getting a little sped up because it's kind of being put into her face at a very young age. Yeah. So, but to speak to how she's doing, she's so happy, so engaged, loves Princeton, loves her teammates. Jenn and I were just with all of them at the Athena Film Festival. They bussed them out in New York for we were closing night film there, and it was beautiful. And she did say, she's like, I think this might be the last time I watched the film. I'm like, that is okay. You've seen it a lot. You've seen it more than I thought you would have seen it. So
it was important to her for her Princeton team, right? This is her life, and this is her new
absolutely
team. These teams are tight in their family, and I think it was huge. It was a huge deal for all of them to come out to support. And a lot of them were featured in the film, and it's testament to Erica's filmmaking that everyone who's in the film has approved of the film. I mean, how often does that happen in doc? I don't know. I feel like in the doc world, that's they did a survey. It's it doesn't happen where you have unanimous kind of approval from folks who are in the film. So that's remarkable.
Well, thank you, Erica. Thank you, Jenn. Again, I adore this film so much. It's going to be such a useful tool to speak with my friends and family and also inspire and just, such a powerful film. And cannot thank you both for sharing your time and for giving us this. So beautiful. Let me remind everybody again, it's on all PBS platforms. Go check it out. Definitely going to be thinking about it come award season because there's, this doc deserves some love. But
thank you. Yes.
We love to
I watched a lot of documentaries, and so when you see a really good one, you kind of put that put a mark on that. Like, I'm gonna think about this later on because we need some...
I love that. Thank you.
Well done. Can we, before we go, so you've knocked this out, and I know how much time, commitment, and heart and soul we put into a project, and now you're doing press on it, but we're filmmakers. We don't ever stop. We're thinking about the next project. Is there anything we can shine a light on to what you guys are going to cover next? And or if not, maybe just some socials we can throw at so people can follow and support the next project you all are doing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working on another film actually longer than this film, which is called Counted. And it's about incarcerated pregnant women. And it's about we're following activists who were previously incarcerated while pregnant, and so we're sharing their stories and their incredible way of trying to end prison births. So we're nearing the end of production, and we're about to start editing, and definitely, hopefully, with funding, right now this is a very challenging landscape, as it's gotten challenging and more challenging, and but yeah. That one's called Counted. And you can actually see the short that we made about it. It's called Win, WINN, and it's on PBS. That was on The Real South a couple years ago. And it actually won the PBS Short Award a couple years ago.
Let's go. Awesome.
Thanks.
Definitely. How about you, Jenn? Do you have anything else you wanted to maybe sidebar share?
So I've been producing also, in conjunction with Home Court. We Arrive with Fire, which is Indigenous cultural fire practices film by the Yurok for the Yurok. So the director is Yurok, and Yurok regionally is it's like Northern California, but right before Oregon. They've been getting attention because of the dams coming down, 3 dams coming down from the Klamath River, and there's been a lot of films, I feel like that's covered kind of the water aspect. And so we're focusing on the fire aspect of that region, but mostly because, I mean, it's such a big deal, especially, I mean, globally, right? And, but through the lens of 3 Yurok tribal members, specifically a grandmother named Margot Robbie, who was just kind of tapped into so many other Indigenous women around the world on, keeping that knowledge of fire practice ceremony alive. That happens, right? So they hone in on the spirit of the earth, of the fire. And what you do when you do that is like, it becomes useful to, let's say, CAL FIRE, right? Firefighters who now become fire lighters, there's a special skill and knowledge that the Indigenous have, and they've been doing it for centuries, of like lighting smaller fires to prevent these chaotic fires. So that's the film that hopefully will be finished in a year or so, and you can catch that also on PBS.
Awesome. So very interesting. Ladies, thank you both for this project and those projects as well. They sound amazing. Again, like I told you, as a fellow creative filmmaker, I'm actually scared of that documentary responsibility. Again, all my fellow documentarians around here, local filmmakers that do that, I just give you all the respect and love, because it's just a weight that I don't want to feel yet. I think I do want to at some point kind of step into that realm, because I think there's so many important stories I'm sure you both know that need to be told. And if no one's doing it, then who's going to do it? So I commend and thank you both for doing what you're doing by getting these stories out there. And maybe I'll get the nerve to get that responsibility up.
Oh, you have it.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, to say back to your question, at Home Court Film, follow us on Instagram. On our website, Home Court Film as well. And we're hoping to get it out in Asia too, trying to get it global, because I've got family members, in Europe and Asia going, we don't have PBS. So.
Yeah, this definitely needs to go everywhere. Just all the people, all the things. Erica, Jenn, again, such a wonderful film, such a powerful film, such a necessary film. Thank you so much. Yes, love, see the love emojis go dropping. You all are amazing. Thank you both. My love to your entire crew, to everybody, the cast, Ashley, the families that shared their stories. And if you're watching this, thank you for opening your heart and your soul and your story to all of us to help inspire and educate us all. The amazing Erica Tanamachi, Jenn Lee Smith. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. All right.
Thank you.
Nerds rule the world.
Pleasure chatting with you. Love to all my nerds who rule the world.
Yeah. Nerds rule the world.
Yes, we do.
Thanks. Nerds rule the world. Thank you.
I love the nerds ruling the world. So more power to you.
Patrick, what up, man? And yes, they do. Nerds rule the world, kid.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Awesome. Kuya P, Nerds Rule the World. Hello.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Oh, Nerds Rule the World.
I got
it's in the title of your show, like Nerds Rule the World. Like, I want more Black weirdos on screen, and I don't feel like we ever get to see that very much.
Thank you so much. Nerds do rule the world.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nerds Rule. Love
it. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Julie.
Yes, Nerds Rule. Yes,
rock on. I love it. Thank you so much.
It's good to see you. I love Nerds Rule the World.
But yeah, there's a heavy nerd component, man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you ask me, nerds rule the world. So
absolutely.
And you're right. Nerds do rule the world.
We're just the best.
Yes. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
It's your boy Kuya P. Nerds rule the world. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
Do. They rule the world, all right.
Yes. Take care, Tony. Thank you, guys. We are recording. All right. I'm gonna count us in, and we'll have some fun. In a 1, 2, 3.